I asked her one simple question: what do you do for fun? And this student, straight A's, the hardest classes that we offered, the kid that every parent dreams of, just went quiet. She couldn't answer me. And what she finally said has stayed with me for years. I'll tell you about that at the end. Because here's the thing, she wasn't failing. That's the terrifying part. If you're a parent trying to figure out how many AP classes your teen should take, this is the video I need you to watch, because the question almost everyone asks is the wrong one. Somewhere along the way, high school stopped being about building a life and it became about surviving a schedule. One AP class becomes three, three become five, and the question quietly changes. It stops being, what kind of person is my teen becoming? And it turns into, how much can they take before they break? You're not pushing your kid because you're cruel. You're doing it because you're scared. Everyone tells you that rigor is what gets them in, that the stronger schedule wins. So you look at the course selection sheet and you think, can she handle one more hard class? Here's the trap. She probably can. That's exactly what makes this so hard. When I met that student, everything on paper said success. Top grades, the hardest classes that we had, responsible, driven, the kid that other parents point at and say, why can't you be more like her? But when you actually talked to her, a different picture came out. Her whole life was work. Wake up, school, come home, homework for hours, sleep, and then do it all again. No weekend with friends, no hobbies, no downtime, no fun. She had stopped being a teenager and turned into a task list. And the scariest part, she didn't think anything was wrong. She thought that was just what being a good student felt like. Everyone around her carried the same load, so she assumed that the exhaustion was normal. Then she told me something I wasn't ready for. She was taking anti-anxiety medication just to get through her days. And she said it like it was nothing, like it was expected. She told me all her friends were on something too. I don't know if that was true, but she believed it completely. To her, needing medication to survive her own schedule was simply the cost of being a good student. Sit with that for a second. A teenager who had decided that not being able to cope was normal. That is what fine can look like on the outside. This is the part that parents don't get to see. You see the transcript, I saw the kid behind it, and the transcript never showed what the cost is. Now here's the part I don't want you to miss, because it's easy to hear a story like this and think, okay, that's extreme. My kid is busy, but they're handling it. That's exactly what makes this so hard to catch. The teens who are struggling the most are often the ones that you would never suspect. Researchers at Stanford had studied this for years. A nonprofit called Challenge Success, co-founded by an education researcher named Denise Pope, found something that should stop every parent cold. Kids buried in that much work often look more engaged on the surface, but underneath they show more physical health problems, more lost sleep, and less balance in their lives. Their research found that students at high-achieving schools average more than 3 hours of homework a night, on top of a full day of school classes, on top of activities. Teenagers need around 9 hours of sleep. Most of these kids are running on 6. Pope put it simply, when your kid is exhausted, sleep does more for them than 1 more hour of studying. More is not better, it's just more. So here's the question I want to change in your head. Most parents ask, can my teen get an A in this class? The better question is, what does my teen have to give up to get that A? Because there's always a trade. Sometimes the trade is worth it, and other times the trade is her sleep, her friendships, and her last bit of joy that she has left. A wall of AP classes with a burnt-out kid behind it is not the win that it looks like. Colleges weigh rigor in the context of what your school offers. They're not counting to see whose kids suffered the most. So what do you actually do? If that student were sitting across from me again, I wouldn't tell her to quit. And I wouldn't call those hard classes a mistake. That was never the lesson. The lesson is that a schedule should get your teen ready for the life ahead of them, not quietly steal the one that they have right now. So here's where to start. You don't have to pull her out of every hard class. Begin with one honest conversation. Ask her what she would do with a free afternoon. If she can't answer, that tells you something. Then look at the schedule together and find where the challenge is actually worth it. Choose the rigor in subjects that she loves. Protect one thing that fills her back up. One friend, one activity, one night off. and guard her sleep like it's a class that she can't afford to fail, because it nearly is. Now, I'll be honest with you about something. I don't know how that girl's story ended. I worked with her through the hardest stretch of it, and then she graduated, walked out of the building, and out of my life. That's how it goes sometimes for me. I meet those kids in the middle of the storm, and I generally don't get to see the sky clear again. So I can't promise that she found her way back. But your teen story isn't written yet. You have time. I don't. If you want help finding out what actually matters in these high school years and what's just noise, I put together a free guide for you. It's called The High School Roadmap Every Parent Needs to Succeed. It's 8 pages, and it's the thing that I wish every parent knew when their kid stepped into high school. The link is in the description and it's pinned in the comments. And if this one hit home, watch the next one. Junior year isn't about pushing harder. It's the same conversation, one step deeper. I'll meet you there. Now remember, the question I asked her at the very start, what did she do for fun? She sat there for a long moment, and then she said something I've never forgotten. I don't even know what I like anymore. I never have any time to do anything but school. The question was never whether your teen can handle another class. Some of them can. This student could. The real question is what disappears from her life so that they can. So tonight, ask your teen one thing. What did they do for fun? And really listen to the answer.